I want you to look around. This is what we call normal now. People are exhausted, but still apologizing for not doing enough. Children are growing up anxious, and we call it the times. Grief is everywhere, and yet there's no room for it anywhere. We've learned how to smile while we're breaking, how to function while we're hollow, how to keep going long after our souls have been asking us to stop. And the saddest part, most people don't even know they're hurting anymore. They just know they're tired. This world teaches us early. Don't feel too much, don't slow down, don't question the structure that's grinding you down. Because if you do, you won't fit. So we adapt. We numb. We normalize what should never have been acceptable in the first place. We call anxiety ambition. We call burnout responsibility. We call emotional starvation strength. And then we wonder why everything feels so empty. Loss cracks open something in you that can never fully close again. It strips away the illusion. It forces you to see what's real. And what never was. Once you've buried dreams, once you've buried people, once you've buried versions of yourself just to survive, you can't pretend this is fine anymore. This so-called ordinary world is built on disconnection from ourselves, from each other, from the quiet truth living in our bodies. And when you feel like you don't belong here, when something in you aches without a clear name, that isn't weakness. That's your nervous system refusing to lie. That's your soul saying, this isn't what we were made for. This world is loud because silence would expose it. It keeps us busy so we don't feel. Distracted so we don't remember. And yes, that realization can break your heart. Because you start to see how much pain we've been taught to endure. How much softness we've been trained to kill. How many people are walking around wounded, pretending they're okay. So, I say, let it hurt. Let it hit. Because heartbreak is not the end. It's the moment truth gets your attention. Here's the part they don't tell you. Awakening doesn't make you weaker. It makes you honest. It takes courage to feel in a world that profits from numbness. It takes strength to stay tender in a system built on hardness. It takes grit to choose consciousness over comfort. So, if you're still here, still feeling, still questioning, good. That means you haven't given up. You are not broken for struggling in a broken system. You're not failing. You are waking up. And this world doesn't change because people stay asleep. It changes because enough of us decide we're done calling suffering normal. We rebuild from here. With truth, with presence, with each other. This world may be ordinary, but what's rising in you right now, that refusal to go numb, that quiet strength to keep your heart open, that is anything but. So there's this quote I heard recently. If you want revenge for the bad things that have happened in your life, start with the version of you that hasn't lived up to your potential. And boy, did that hit me. I didn't hear that quote as permission to turn on myself. I heard it as a confrontation, not a loud one, not a cruel one, but the kind that makes you go quiet inside because you know it's pointing at something real. Because accountability isn't about revenge. It's about the moment you stop pretending you didn't know better. Not sooner, not always, but eventually. There's a particular kind of grief that comes from realizing that the person who delayed your becoming the most wasn't your parents, wasn't your partners. It wasn't even the system that failed you. It was the version of you that learned how to survive by staying small. And that's hard to look at because it means holding on to two truths at once. I was doing the best I could, and I also abandoned myself. I didn't betray myself out of malice. I betrayed myself out of fear. Fear of being seen, fear of being wrong, fear of choosing myself and losing people who benefited from my hesitation. So no, I don't punish that version of me, but I don't excuse her either. Compassion without accountability is just another way to stay stuck. And accountability without compassion is just violence with better language. What I'm interested in now is the line between the two. Because if I'm honest, some of my deepest pain didn't come from what was done to me. It came from what I tolerated long after I knew what it was costing me. It came from the conversations I rehearsed in my head and never had. From the boundaries I understood intellectually, but didn't enforce emotionally. That's the shadow that nobody wants to talk about. Not the trauma, but the participation. The moments I said, "It's fine," when it wasn't. The moments I waited for clarity when I was really waiting for permission. The moments I handed my agency to time, to hope, to someone else's potential. And here's the uncomfortable part. Some of that delay felt safer than growth. Because growth requires me to disappoint people. It requires me to grieve old identities. It requires me to stop blaming circumstances and start answering to myself. So when I say accountability, I don't mean self-hatred. I mean self-honesty. I mean looking at my life and asking, where did I choose comfort over alignment? Where did I confuse patience with avoidance? Where did I let doubt make decisions it had no business making? Because self-trust isn't something you manifest. It's something you rebuild, one uncomfortable choice at a time. And doubt doesn't disappear when you grow. It just gets quieter when you stop letting it run the meeting. And that's what's different now. I don't need to be perfect to be responsible. I don't need to be healed to be honest. I just need to stop lying to myself about what I already see. Accountability is the moment I stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what am I going to do with the awareness I have now? Because that's where the power actually lives. Not in rewriting the past, not in punishing the version of me that didn't know how to be braver yet, but in choosing today to no longer abandon myself out of fear, That's not revenge. That's reclamation. And it doesn't happen loudly. It happens in the quiet decisions, the ones nobody applauds, the ones that finally say, I'm here, I'm responsible, and I'm not leaving myself again. He didn't come to me to stay. He came to take me to the edge, to activate the part of me I had buried, the part that still believed I had to be understood by someone else to exist fully. We weren't aligned in values. We were contrast. And for years, that contrast became my lodestar. It sharpened me, yes, but it also blinded me. I mistook intensity for intimacy. I mistook activation for alignment. I mistook being seen in fragments for being seen at all. For years, I lied to myself. I called it hope. I called it patience. I even called it love. But the truth is darker. I was obsessed with potential, with what might be instead of what was. I argued my own knowing. I silenced my body when it said no. I ignored the clear signs because I wanted the story to keep me alive. The darkest place wasn't longing. It was self-erasure dressed as openness. I was still trying to be chosen by contradiction, by chaos, by friction. I stayed longer than alignment would have required because I was still learning where I ended and where I had been dissolving myself to stay connected. I was participating in my own obsession. I called it patience. I called it devotion. I called it growth. But really, I was afraid. Afraid of being alone with the truth. Afraid of the grief that wasn't mediated by his presence. Afraid of seeing myself fully. The catalyst doesn't just challenge your beliefs. They drag you into the basement of your own system and make you face the truth you've been avoiding. The part of you that abandoned itself for the illusion of connection. I'm disappointed, mostly in myself, for believing resolution could come from staying attached to the wound instead of closing it. The obsession wasn't about him. It was about the part of me that believed suffering proved something. The part that thought endurance was devotion. The part that mistook intensity for authenticity. And now, letting go isn't dramatic. It isn't fireworks. It isn't relief. It's sobering. Because I can't blame confusion. I can't blame timing. I can't blame chemistry. I have to live with the fact that I knew, and I stayed anyway. But here's what the catalyst leaves behind. Clarity, sovereignty, the knowledge that contrast served its purpose, and now the work is mine. I will still meet ideas that challenge me. I will still feel friction, but I no longer confuse exposure with intimacy. I'm not chasing. I'm not closing my heart. I'm stabilizing it. I'm choosing myself. Discomfort is no longer a reason to cling. It's fuel to build structure. I'm not looping. I'm integrating. This isn't shame. This is responsibility. This is reckoning. This is the edge of obsession and the start of authorship. I'm not deleting him from my memory. I am letting go because the lesson is complete. Contrast served its purpose. Now clarity leads. I am anchored in my understanding of myself. I will expose myself to the ideas that challenge me, not to prove myself right or wrong, but to see the boundaries of what I believe and why I believe it. I'm not closing my mind. I am expanding discipline without surrendering my truth. I am moving forward with intention, not backward with memory. The catalyst pushed me to darkness, to obsession, to self-betrayal. And now, I carry myself fully. I am the fire I choose to carry. I am the author of my own life. Not looping, progressing. This is my clarity. This is my path. I love you all. Stay golden.
Hey guys, if this resonated with you today, you know what to do. Head on over to the Introverted Coach here on YouTube and like and subscribe for more.